Hello, everybody. Oscar Mendoza here in South Florida. Hope everyone is doing well. I know, just before I get into this, I know everything is crazy right now with coronavirus, and I'm sure most of you that are taking this class work in law enforcement as I do, and we're just trying to make sense of all this. So I hope all of you are doing well and managing during these times. Um, I For this unit, I chose to look into white collar crimes, as explained in Chapter 11. I found this case, or this particular crime, to be very interesting. I think some of the most notable cases in history, I'm going to talk about one of them, but one that was pretty common, or I'm sorry, one that was pretty notable, with Al Capone getting arrested for tax evasion, where he was actually more well known for all kinds of other crimes that were not white collar, murder, gangs, but at the end of the day, they were able to go after him using a different method. And we're going to talk about Edwin Sutherland, who actually got his PhD from the University of Chicago, where he outlines the what white collar crimes are. So I thought that was pretty interesting that a fellow Chicagoan, I don't know, somebody from Chicago helped define. And certainly Chicago, as in previous unit, we learned a lot about the Chicago school, but certainly Chicago has had its ups and downs with crime. So it all kind of makes sense, like what a great area to study criminology. Anyway, so getting into Edwin Sutherland, he's the father of white collar crimes. He was the one that kind of put the idea into print, created a theory behind it. He was actually able to come up with two elements that make a white collar crime. The first one is high status. So if you look at, obviously, Al Capone, he wasn't royalty or anything, but he certainly had a high status in the criminal world and as well as um, just in life and in the area that in Chicago. Um, but we're not really going to talk about Capone, but that's just an example. High status. And the second is the offense is occupation based. So, for Capone, his offense with tax evasion, he made all his money. He was a bootlegger during Prohibition, obviously, making making money selling alcohol being illegal at the time. Um, so, that being said, the offender uses their status to commit crimes at a higher level. So in the book, it gives an example of a bank cashier taking money from a till, or a CEO of that bank taking money from the bank. The amounts are going to be the amounts are going to be way different. Um, so also, because of the CEO status, they're able to pull more money probably without question, or less questions, less notice. They're able to mask it, use their influence and power to um, sidestep certain regulations and things like that. Um, and it is noted in the book that um, a lot of these white collar criminals, they were able to get away with doing all these things for such a long period of time because there was really no criminal consequence. There was no punishment for it. The worst kind of punishment that they actually received were more civil infractions rather than criminal infractions. So if you're like Bernie Madoff 200 years ago, this would be a great world to live in because you can scam everyone, steal money, and if you get caught, you're going to pay a civil fine. Not to say that it's not going to be a lot of money that you're going to have to pay or whatever infraction sanctions that are put on you, but it's not life in prison. So I thought that was very interesting. That creating this also, sets the way. Remember, these people in power are also people or I'm sorry, the people that are committing these crimes can also be people in power. People in power create the laws, they make the laws, and they're making laws to help them commit these crimes and not get caught or not get criminally prosecuted. So, Bernie Madoff is probably one of the most notable white collar crime people in our era. November 30th, 2008, he was arrested for a Ponzi scheme where he stole, defrauded more than $65 billion with a B. It's actually, I'm sorry, $64.8 billion. He was caught. Bernie Madoff, one of his, so you have the high value amount of money. His position, what is his position? Well, he's kind of a guy that's been all over the